Hey, I'm back. This will be my first of three videos over the course of probably the week. Another one might come up today, depending on how my time is, because it is Boxing Day. I'm going to do a little bit of shopping, and I have a friend to hang out with, and so that depends on how long that overall takes. The shopping, particularly, because that could turn into a whole day thing. Um, I'm going to do my first video is on CFL football, specifically the Hamilton Stadium Ticat situation, because I do have some viewers in Hamilton and in this general vicinity. So I'm going to express my thoughts on that. I expect it to be a low view video. Um, then there's a boxing video I really want to do, which will be my first dedicated boxing video. So look out for that. And then I do have possibly a kind of jumbled up video on MMA, and then I have my Q&A video on MMA. So one or two videos are going to be MMA related, so kind of warning the bulk of my audience, which tunes in for MMA insights instead of the occasional other stuff I do. That two of these videos may not interest you, although MMA fans, boxing fans, maybe I got some crossover, but we'll see. Um, so onward to the Hamilton Tiger Cats situation, I suppose the sticky situation of the Pan Am Games wanted to come to Hamilton, have some soccer events, and the city was going to or is going to or it's just become a clusterfuck. But they were looking at building a new stadium that the obviously Hamilton Tiger Cats wouldn't have, it being the only um, significant outdoor sports team that Hamilton boasts. The only other team they really have would be the Hamilton Bulldogs hockey team. Um, and that seemed like a great idea. Iverwin is an old stadium. I don't want to say the oldest stadium in the CFL because I really don't know, but I'm just kind of thinking for a moment, and I get kind of that feeling that if it's not the oldest, it's the oldest in its current condition. It's been a while since it's been upgraded, given that facelift, which most other older stadiums have been given. The one that comes to mind is the Edmonton's Commonwealth Stadium. But continuing on this train of thought, and that seemed like a good idea. New stadium, chance to bring in more revenue. Hamilton Ticat owner Bob Young was like, "I'll chip in some money to build the stadium because I'm probably going to have to put into some money to renovate Ivor Wynn soon." Apparently, Ivor Wynn needs something in the tune of $80 million in renovations. And it seemed great, except then came this problem that the city, specifically it seems the former mayor of Hamilton, although it seems like if people weren't on side with him, they didn't smack him into line. So I don't think it was just him, but he was the spokesperson basically. And basically this whole time they wanted to build a stadium in West Harbor location, which is if you've been there, it's really not nice. Also kind of stinks. I'm not trying to insult anyone who has anything to do with West Harbor. But basically they've wanted to build it there, and they kept pushing it. And Bob Young doesn't want to put it there. He's saying, I'll move the Tiger Cats. I won't chip in the funds, I promised. And people are saying, well, that's blackmail. No, it's really not blackmail. Blackmail is if you do it in private. This is threatening, not blackmail. Anyone who uses it's just wrong terminology, I guess. And people say, well, where else could he go? There are other stadiums you could be in temporarily while a proper stadium is built. Plus, the Empire Stadium in BC proves that we can build a temporary stadium very quickly for relatively low funds. It's a temporary stadium; it's not a permanent fix, but it can be built quickly, relatively low funds, while a proper stadium is built. Additionally, there's enough university stadiums that the Ticats would suffer through some financial hardships while they were waiting for a proper stadium because they wouldn't have the kind of size, they wouldn't have the kind of revenue coming in. But you know what? If Bob Young is willing, but when you think about it, if Bob Young is willing to do that, then that's all there's to it. And you know, this Ticats haven't been a gold mine, people. Like you know, support in Hamilton it wanes for the sports team, and it wanes with you know how much money the city's making. It's we're pretty much bottom of the league in terms of percentage of filled stadium. We're ahead in average attendance, or pardon me, we're not last. Toronto's last, but you know, in terms of we're second last in terms of percentage of tickets sold. We are second last in terms of average attendance in the league. It's just an 8-team league, but still, I mean, this proves that Ticats are probably not the greatest financial viability of a sports team. Neither of the Ontario teams, Toronto and Hamilton, are. So moving out of Hamilton and enduring a couple of lean years in exchange for you know possibly some profitability down the road is probably preferable to being bullied around by city council. I don't want to say bullied around. It's not really right because you know I agree that the city council definitely should have some say where this is going. It's their city, but this is one of those things that like I've criticized in the past teams building a stadium to facilitate a sports team, but you have a sports team there. You're building a stadium theoretically anyways because of the Pan Am Games. And why build a stadium if you have no long-term tenant, which has to be a sports team basically because it's the only thing that's really going to make use of stadium. What else is going to come to Hamilton that is not the Hamilton Tiger Cats? CFL stated that if you lose the Tiger Cats, you're not getting an expansion team. So CFL's out. MLS, there are definitely areas they'd go to first. They have Toronto, they have Vancouver now, and I don't remember if Montreal is officially getting a team. But even when Montreal gets a team, Hamilton's not very high on the list to get an MLS team. You're not getting a baseball team of any real significance. Additionally, you're designing a soccer stadium, which doesn't really work all that well for baseball anyways. So what are you bringing in that validates the stadium being built if you don't have the Tiger Cats? Long term, I'm speaking. You're also losing Bob Young's money. And they keep saying, well, you know, our proposal, you know, is cheaper because West Harbor, I guess the city actually owns the land there. They don't at the Confederation Park location. And there's another one I think floating around that has to do with rail yard land that they're not selling. It's like, well, this is the cheaper one. Yeah, but you still don't have the money for that. So, you know, and Bob Young has, you know, stated he's willing to chip in like more than the agreed amount to make this stadium happen, kind of where he wants it to happen, and to keep the Ticats there. So it's just a complete nightmare that the city of Hamilton tripping over its own feet. It seems. I mean, this really shouldn't be that hard. I mean, I understand. It's in order to make money on this long term, you need a team there. That's all there is to it. So I got 7 minutes left. So anything else CFL-ish I want to talk about? Not really. Not enough news has come out about the Ticats' upcoming like acquisitions or losses to really comment on how good the team is going to be. I had thought about doing a season review video, but it's a little late for that now. Outside of the fact that people were, of course, at the end of the season complaining about Kevin Glenn and how 2 years in a row we've been out of the playoffs with shoddy performances and so on. For one thing, this year, I don't think Glenn was the fault. People will say, well, he threw the interception at the end. Yeah. But prior to that, he outplayed Cleo Lemon considerably. He wasn't the problem. You know, we had a lot of drops. This is particularly on Marquay McDaniel, ironically. Couldn't get a running game going to save our life. Could not stop Corey Boyd at the end of the game, although the defense in general did a very solid job. And people are saying, well, he's a choke artist in the playoffs. He's been to a Grey Cup. Didn't get to play in the Grey Cup. Probably would have won had Winnipeg been able to play him, because you remember Saskatchewan had a terrible game out of Kerry Joseph, and Winnipeg just had an even worse game out of Ryan Dinwiddie that had, Kevin Glenn played that game. It's a pretty solid chance that Winnipeg comes out with a Grey Cup victory. I mean, 2 losses in the playoffs that you were supposed to win, admittedly, does not make a failure out of you as a playoff quarterback. And the additional thing is, you talk about, we want to replace him because he's, playoff unable, shall we say? We'll put it that way. But who do you replace him with that is guaranteed to be this great change of playoff ableness? Because you're not getting a guy like Anthony Calvillo, who's got a phenomenal playoff record. You're not getting a guy like Saskatchewan's Darian Durant, who's led his team to 2 straight Grey Cups. Not getting Henry Burris, who, in my opinion, wouldn't actually be that much of an upgrade. Burris is the most mercurial quarterback in the league, in my opinion. You're not getting Ricky Ray, so you're not getting anyone with any real solid playoff wins to his name. So do you blow up the team, go with a young quarterback, and see how that kind of develops? Because I don't think that's the way to go, really. I don't particularly think Quentin Porter or Adam Trefalis, who are the second and third string quarterbacks in Hamilton right now, are a significant improvement over Kevin Glenn. Porter, I think, does have the abilities to be a CFL level starter. He has to kind of put it all together, which he never did last season while as a starter. It hasn't really shown any signs that he has, although I think eventually we'll have to give him that chance to kind of show it. But basically what I'm saying here is I don't feel Glenn is the problem. I feel that, people point out the interception at the end of the game against the Argos in the East semifinals. But that, in my opinion, I've never understood that play call. And there are numerous people that argue with me, well, it was a solid play call. No. To throw a 2-3 yard pass to Arlen Bruce when you're looking at, I believe it was about a 54-yard field goal, which is long, but we paid Sandro DeAngelis all that money, which I still say is the greatest mistake we've ever made, because you look at DeAngelis' numbers with Calgary at Ivor Wynne, and they sucked. You look at his home numbers again this year, and they suck. Something about the stadium and Sandro DeAngelis doesn't quite click. I mean, you'd think eventually he'll get it, but why bring in a guy who can't kick in your stadium? Because you got 9 games there, regular season. Anyways. But the play call doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, if you're going to go with a short play, you might as well run it. That way you don't risk the interception. And then you can say, well, if you run it, you could fumble the ball. But, I mean, it doesn't happen that often, for one. For another, you don't have the option of the interception. You do have the option of the fumble. You have the option of a fumble on a pass, too. You also have the option for a sack, which puts you at a really, really long field goal. I would have, if you're going to throw it, take a shot down the field. Take a shot and to the sidelines so a guy can get out of the bounce and stop the clock. Not kind of over the middle into the slot to Bruce, off his hand, picked off, game over. To me, that was just a terrible play call. That's pretty much it for this particular video. I'll be back today, tomorrow, sometime over the course of this week. There will be 2 to 3 more videos that I put out. And that's all from me. So later.